Let's talk about the I-751 removal of conditions. Hi, I'm Jim Hacking, immigration lawyer practicing law throughout the United States out of our offices in St. Louis, San Diego, and Washington, D.C. You know, I often assume that people understand and that if I've made a video before that they'll understand and know exactly what I'm talking about. But we've been seeing some confusion lately about the 751, the removal of conditions process. So I wanted to make an updated video to give you sort of the latest news on what's happening. Now, the thing you have to understand is that if you are married to a U.S. citizen or a green card holder, and when you apply for adjustment of status, if that case is approved before the 2-year anniversary of your marriage date, then you are going to receive what's called a conditional green card. You're going to be treated as a conditional resident, and you will have to wait 2 more years to get the conditions on your lawful permanent residence removed. Now, when you are a conditional resident, you have all the rights and privileges of a lawful permanent resident. You can leave the United States, you can come back, you don't need work authorization, you don't need permission to travel unless you don't have a passport. You would need a travel document, but other than that, you're free to move around the world. Obviously, you don't want to stay outside the United States for more than 6 months because that puts other things at issue, but you have all the rights and privileges of a lawful permanent resident. But at the end of the next 2 years, so whatever date you receive your green card. So let's say that you got married on February 14th, Valentine's Day, 2022, and then you applied for the 751 for removal of conditions before the 2-year anniversary. That's what you have to do. So you will get that green card, and you will have a green card for 2 years. And at the end of those 2 years, you'll have to submit an I-751 petition for removal of conditions. And in that case, you're going to have to submit more documentation that you and your spouse remain married. Now, the whole purpose of the conditional residency and the 751 process is to cut down on immigration fraud. So if you think about that, it makes sense. They don't want to give you full residency in the United States. They want you to have to file for removal of conditions, and you do that in that 90-day window before the 2-year anniversary on your green card. So again, if you got married on February 14th, 2022, and you applied for a green card, but you got it before February 14th, 2024, then you're going to get a conditional green card. So let's say you get it on January 1st, 2024. That's before the 2-year anniversary, so that means you get a conditional green card. So then at that point, a new 2-year process starts. So by January 1st, 2026, you're going to have to file the I-751, and typically you do that in the 90 days before January 1st, 2026. So that would be, you know, October, November, December of 2025, you would file the I-751. You would file it jointly with your spouse. If you're not filing it jointly, we have lots of other videos about that. We call those I-751 solos. Those are a whole different can of worms, but basically on a joint 751, you're going to submit the form together. You're both going to sign it. You're going to submit a bunch of new updated evidence. Maybe you have kids by then. Maybe you've bought a house or leased an apartment or bought some furniture or gone on trips. It's not as hard as getting the original green card, but you are going to have to submit lots of documentation that shows that you are still validly married, that the relationship continues, and that you have maintained your residency, and that you should be allowed to get those conditions removed. Now, in the old days, the I-751s took 5 or 6 months to get approved. Now we are over 2 years in delay with USCIS in the processing of 751s. It's absolutely ridiculous that it's taking them this long to simply verify that the couple is still married. I think that when Donald Trump and Jeff Sessions were in charge of Homeland Security, and they had clowns like Ken Cuccinelli running USCIS and Homeland Security, that they really made it harder and harder for these kinds of cases to get approved. They put in a lot of bureaucracy, and unfortunately, the Biden team and Alejandro Mayorkas and Jadu have done very little to speed up this process. Instead, they've actually extended the process, whereas now you get a 4-year extension letter. So when you file for the 751, you know, your green card actually expires, so they'll send you a cover letter extending your lawful permanent resident status now for 4 years. So in theory, that means they could take up to 4 years to decide your case. Now, you're eligible for citizenship if you remain married just 1 year later. So in the old days, we would tell people to wait for the 751 to get approved, but now we're telling people to go ahead and apply for naturalization as soon as they are eligible. So that is what you need to know about the 751 process. If you're looking for help with this, we love working on these cases, especially for past clients. You can give us a call at 314-961-8200. You can email us info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com. Be sure to join us in our Facebook group. It's called Immigrant Home. We'd love to have you in there. That's a free resource for people. And another free resource that we have is our YouTube channel, where you can watch all of our videos. We have hundreds and hundreds of immigration videos, and you can get the answers to your questions. We'd love to see you in there. Otherwise, be sure to join us in our Immigration Answers live show, where I go live a few times a week answering as many immigration law related questions as possible in 1 hour. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time.